Hey, welcome to Mama Mandala, where magic is somatic. This practice is for the days when we're feeling a little off, when we feel like we're on the edge, where we can't find our center. And it's a love poem for the parts of us that live on the edges, the parts of us that have a harder time being integrated, the days in our lives where we're feeling a little disconnected, because we don't need to fix anything and we don't have to bring ourselves back into a place where we're feeling on, but rather honor the entirety of our human experience and give room for the places in us and the moments in our lives where we're off mark. So a love song to being off. Go ahead and sit back on your heels and place your left hand over your heart and your right hand over your belly. We're going to start with a little bit of breath to tone and help regulate our nervous system, tone the vagal nerve and help regulate our nervous system. So you can keep your eyes open, resource yourself as you need, eyes open or closed, whatever your system is asking for, and then turn your attention to your breath and give yourself a moment or two to simply let the breath breathe you. You don't have to do anything with it yet. Just watch, observe, be witness to its movement. And notice how just by witnessing it, it starts to change. And this is exactly how we want to show up to ourselves when we're feeling off. Instead of trying to fix it and do something with it, bear witness to it, make space for it, and give it room to shift, to change, to become the next experience. Now breathe deeply into your belly and your chest and expand your belly and chest into your hands. And then exhale, slowly feel your belly contracting, softening, resting backwards. And then again, deep breath into the belly, broaden the belly and expand your chest as you breathe in. And then allow it to soften, to release as the breath moves out. And one more breath like that, big belly as you breathe in. And a soft release as you breathe out. Bring your hands to the floor in front of you. Come to all fours. Your eyes can open if they were closed. And move your hips a little bit side to side. So find actually the wiggling, the movement, the swaying, rather than the center, rather than finding the place where you are fully aligned. Move around, move with, move into the off center, the offness. And you'll find that as you move off center, and you can start to circle your hips around a little bit and breathe, you might find that as you move around, as you circulate, you weave yourself then through your center. Isn't that interesting? And then change directions, move in the opposite, circulate in the opposite direction, and press your hands deeply into the earth so that the parts of your hands that might want to lift, actually press those down so that you're rooted and grounded, supporting yourself and also protecting your wrists. And then bring it to center. To center, and start with a little bit of cat and cow. Inhale to reach your chest forward and your hips back, and exhale slowly to look in towards your navel and round your back. Press your hands down as you move and start to tone the back of the throat as you inhale. So Ujjayi breath. And make this resonant sound with your breath as you exhale. And round your back. And breathe through the tone in the back of the throat as you look forward, reach your hips back and let the breath flow in. And make that whispering sound, that sigh sound as you round your back. Press the hands down. And then bring your spine to the space between cat and cow, between arch and round. And with an exhalation, reach your hips up and back into downward facing dog with your hands rooted into the earth. Now, if that's too much weight on your hands and you're not doing downward dog, you can always do this pose when we go into down dog with your hands on a wall or on a chair so that you're supporting yourself and you do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Inhale your right leg up. And as you exhale, bend the knee and open up your hips. So it's off center, off balance, off toward a little bit of a more edgy space. And as you go to the edge, root your hands down. So we go to the edge, but we ground ourselves there. Breathe in and reach your leg back. We protect the wrist. We protect that which supports us. Exhale, step the foot forward in between your hands. And then move a little side to side. Root both of your feet into the earth. And rock a little bit forward and back. So do a little bit of movement, a little bit of rocking. Which actually, a little bit of rocking like that is also helpful for the toning of the vagal nerve. So a little bit of movement, a little bit of rocking helps regulate our nervous system. Breathe in slowly, ground your feet into the earth. I learned that from Resma Menachem, from his book, My Grandmother's Hands. Put your hands on the earth and reach back into downward facing dog. And if down dog is too much, you can put your knees down, or you can go and put your hands on a wall or on a chair. Left leg up with a deep breath in. Exhale, bend the knee and open up the hip. There's a lot going on in the world that will make us feel a little off. There's a lot of injustices. Lift your right arm bone up, right hip up. There's racism, there's misogyny, there's a misuse of power, there's white supremacy. Reach your leg back, inhale, not to bum you out, but to remind us, exhale, bring your foot forward in between your hands, that there's a reason why we might feel off center, off balance, off our marks. Move the hips a little side to side. And we're also been programmed by capitalism and by patriarchy to feel like we always need to be on our marks. Move the hips side to side. And there's a little bit of a lack of receptivity for the days, for the spaces, for the times, maybe months, maybe even years. I'm a mama, and I feel like I've been off my own center for years. Go ahead and rock a little backwards and forwards, right? And our society doesn't make room for it. So we make room for it in ourselves, in our bodies. Deep breath in. Exhale, root your hands down and reach up and back into downward facing dog. Ground the inner edges of your hands and the tips of your fingers, hips to the sky, heels towards the earth. Inhale to plank pose as you root your hands down, especially through the index finger knuckle, and then exhale, bring your hips to the floor so that the weight on your hands, point your feet, spread your toes, Cobra pose, is on the inner edges just as much as it is on the outer edges, and that will help protect your wrists. Move your Cobra, your snake, a little side to side. So the serpent in symbolism, in metaphor, in archetype, is an invitation to be able to see like the serpent sees, from this angle and then the other, from this side and then the other. And it weaves itself through the center, but it's always in movement, side to side, to gain different perspectives. Deep breath in, root down into your hands, and exhale up and back into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Ground the hands into the earth. Deep breath in. And exhale, walk your hands back toward your feet. Uttanasana, forward bend, and you can bend your knees here. You don't have to keep your legs straight. If you have lower back issues, if your hamstrings are really tight, bend your knees. You can put your hands on blocks or on thick books or a book pile. You can again put your hands on a wall or on a chair. Do what you need to do to take care of this beautiful, precious, sacred body of yours. Inhale, look forward, reach your hips back and your chest forward. And exhale, slowly fold in. I'm doing legs straight right now because that feels so good for my body. So inhale, look forward. Even when we're feeling a little bit off, we can actually be guided by what feels good. Exhale, fold in, and it's, as long as we're being safe and we're not hurting anybody else or hurting ourselves, inhale, look forward. Following what feels good can be a great support for the times in our lives, the moments in our lives when we feel off. One more time to look forward. Slowly inhale, deep breath through the tone in the back of your throat. And exhale, walk your hands forward. Come back into downward facing dog. Root your hands down. And then with the next exhalation, bring your knees down to the earth. Now, again, if a lot of weight on your hands just doesn't feel good, the other thing you can do is you can put your hands on the couch or on a chair. We're going to lift the right leg up. Deep breath in. So see, we're again a little bit off balance. And exhale. If your hands are down, you're going to bring your right foot outside of your right hand. And the left knee is on the floor. And move a little side to side, rock backwards and forward. And if your hands are on the chair or maybe on a couch or on a stool, you can put your forearms there, right? So you have ways to take care of yourself if your wrists and your shoulders and the condition you're in are not supportive of putting your weight on your hands. Deep breath in. I'm going to go back to here, and with an exhalation, step your right foot back to meet your left, and you're back into all fours, hands and knees, or hands on something else. Left leg up, deep breath. And again, a little bit off balance here, right? One of the points of support, lift the floor. Exhale, bring your left foot outside of your left hand. And move a little side to side. Rock a little bit, backwards and forwards, a little bit side to side. Breathe slowly. Give yourself permission to be in flux, to be in movement, to be with yourself in these places where maybe you're not feeling the most settled at the moment. Deep breath in. And exhale, step your left foot back, all fours, hands and knees, or hands on something else. And then with an inhalation, lift your left leg up again and reach back with your right hand to hold your left foot. Hello, a little bit of balance, right? A little bit off, and we might feel off, and we might wiggle, and we might even fall. It's not the most dangerous place to fall off, but do take care of yourself. Spread the toes on your left foot. My right foot is, the toes are tucked under, so that helps me be a little bit more stable. Left hand roots into the earth, or left hand on something else to support you, right? You always have that option. Whoa! Deep breath in. Sometimes we lose balance. That's the point. Exhale, bring your knee down and bring your right hand down. Move the hips a little side to side. Maybe lean back in towards your heels a little bit. Wiggle. And then reach your right leg back. Deep, slow inhale. Spread your toes. If your knees are hurting, you can always put a blanket underneath so that you have like padding for your knees. Reach back with your left hand and grab your right foot. Spread your toes and reach your right foot back into your hand. Reach your chest forward. Press your hand down. And this is a little off balance, right? We're a little in a place that can be a little wiggly. And maybe you're feeling super strong and stable. Fabulous. Breathe wherever you are. Make space for the experience that you are having. Deep, slow inhale. And with an exhalation, bring your knee down and bring your hand down. Slow breath in, reach your hips back and your chest forward, and exhale back into downward facing dog if that's okay for you. Root the hands down deeply. Reach the heels back. Slow breath in. Exhale slowly. And keep your hands rooted. Deep breath in. And exhale, walk your hands back towards your feet into Uttanasana. And again, you always have the options of hands on blocks or a stool or books or couch or chair. Hold your elbows with your hands and fold into yourself for a moment. Knees can be bent or legs can be straight. Slow breath. And there's a natural rocking that might happen here, so follow it if it's feeling good for you. You know, the mythology from India is full of off the mark, off the center, off the off the path that's quote unquote is supposed to be the right path. And we can even argue that stories, mythology from everywhere in the world is filled with that. Bring your hands down to the floor and bring yourself to sit, and bring the soles of your feet together into Baddha Konasana. Hold your ankles, move your hips a little bit side to side. Deep, slow breath in. And you might just stay here as you exhale. Pull on your ankles and lengthen through your spine. You can put your hips on a blanket to elevate yourself, so that you want to make sure that you're not in such a tight place where it's a torture. So being off, being tight, being maybe less in our most, not exactly in our most capable place physically, shouldn't make us feel like we're not a part of this great, whole, gorgeous experience of living. We can find ourselves where we are and adjust as we need, right? And it might not be what I'm offering, but wherever we are, and you can start to take your chest forward a little bit more if this feels good for you. Wherever we are, there's place for us, even in the edges, even in the off places, even, and particularly I would say, and go ahead and keep sending your chest forward or keep working on lengthening your spine where you are. The places, the people that have been pushed and marginalized and pushed to the edges, those are the places, those are the people that we want to actually learn from, that we want to center, whether it's us or other people, parts of ourselves that have been colonized and therefore pushed into places that are not taken care of. Send your chest forward, ground through the hips, and inhale, come up. So from the outskirts, we actually can learn a lot. Take a seat and bring the foot in front of you that you're less used to. If you're used to seated, sit for meditation a lot. Move the hips a little bit side to side, and bring your big thumb, your thumb to touch your index finger. This is Chin Mudra. You can have your palms face up or palms face down. Let your eyes soften. Again, resource yourself as needed. If eyes closed feels not safe for you, you can keep your eyes open. And if it feels good to let your eyes close, go for it. This is your time, your space. Breathe slowly. And this mudra, this gesture, Chin Mudra, the thumb, this is how I learned it. It might have nothing to do with the origin of it, but it's a lovely metaphor to connect to. The thumb represents the universe, the whole, the bigger picture, and the index finger is the individual. It's us on that personal level. And as we bring those two parts to touch, we come in touch with our own personal connection and the weaving together of ourself as a part of something greater than ourselves. So we breathe. You can take a few more rounds of Ujjayi breath. Breathe into your chest and into your belly, even if you're not making them big. And exactly where you are is where the wisdom that you need sits and breathes, swims and wanders. And so ask yourself, ask this part of you, ask this space in you for any messages that you might need right now. And allow yourself to hear it. And it might not come as words. It might not come as visions. Let it surprise you. Maybe it's a color. Make room for it. And then take your time to interpret it, to make meaning. Sit here in this space for as long as you need, as long as you'd like. And make sure to subscribe to this channel and to subscribe to our email list. I'll put a link in the description of the video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.